Yo, what's happening, people? We are back beyond the surface, man. Appreciate y'all tuning back in. X, how you living, man?
Fantastic. Lavish.
Yeah, that's what we like to
Look
hear.
like Larry June.
Numbers. Yeah,
Yeah.
shout out Larry June. He just dropped the album today with 2 Chainz, man. I'm trying to check that out.
Yep.
But yeah, man. Hopefully you guys have been good. We appreciate you tuning back in. Today we want to dive into a topic that we've talked about before, college / career, and that's something that me and you have both went through, and obviously career we're still going through.
Mm-hmm.
I graduated in 2019. Actually, when did you graduate? Do you remember? He's an old soul. Give him some time.
2017. 17? 17?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, that was a college was a good time, but it was also, it had its ups and downs, and as far as like managing your time, managing your assignments, managing the stress that comes with that, and managing what you want to do with your degree in general. So today, I just wanted to talk about how to really manage college and go about it, especially like something I thought about was, my girl asked me a while back, if you can go back to college and go through the same route, same major, would you do it? And that's something I really thought about, like, to be straight up, because I was like, man, I don't know, I might want to be like a lawyer, or going to law school, or
do a little something different.
Yeah, I'm not good with numbers, so that science stuff, like, that they can miss me on that.
It's dead.
As far as being a doctor or anything like that, but it's something that, like, other options came to interest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very much so the path to where, like, everything happens for a reason and stuff like that, but if you can go back and change it, like, we got to be honest, like, would you do it type thing? So, like, that being said, I am glad where I'm at right now, but it was something to think about. And as far as like choosing your major, that's super important. Like, that's something
they don't really talk. They talk about it. I mean, we went to kind of a good high school. Cienega kind of prepared us a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They try to talk to you about, like, oh, you got to have a decision about careers. You got to figure out what to do, and it kind of give you an idea to get your foot in the door. But still, once you get there, and you could pick a major, and you still might not like it, because initially I wanted to be a teacher, and that's what I started in, and I couldn't handle the lesson planning or any of that stuff. I was like, this is too much for me personally. Like, I don't like to set up these lessons plans every year, and so I made a switch to the just business administration. Like, easy,
right.
Yeah,
I went through something similar. Like, I didn't switch my whole major, but like you said, like, teaching is a hard job, man. Like, and there's a lot to it that you got to do. Is you don't just go into class, show up, and be like, all right, I got all this material. You got to do a lot of work outside of class and your own research, lesson plans, and things like that. So, teachers are always working hard.
Shout out to the teachers.
Shout out to teachers,
I
man.
always love them.
Yeah, but I went through something similar, because I was wanting to go to school. I did graduate with journalism, but I was wanting to go to school for sports journalism.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it just got to the point to, for me personally, I didn't have the I wasn't passionate enough about it to work as hard as sports journalists work.
Yeah, to pursue that.
And like, to get to where the top dollar amount that I wanted to get to, like, it wasn't gonna happen without grinding, like, late nights. You know what I mean? So yeah, like, we knew a guy named Justin Spears. Justin. Yeah. Like, that dude was grinding until, like, shout out Justin Spears, man. Go watch his show on ESPN Radio. You know what I'm saying? He's still out there in Tucson. But he was working, like, full time, but, like, also covering sports and writing stories at like 4 till like 3, 4 in the morning. And I was like, for me personally, like, you love it, and I can see that, but that's not me. So, like, when you do pick a major, make sure it is something that you really like, something that you love, but also you don't want to get to the point where later on, like, bills and just your way of life that you want, even if you love something so much, if you're not seeing something like benefits back from that, whether it be like monetarily or time wise, even, that's something to think about. So think down the road of like what's also something that I can see myself doing that I like, but also fits my mode of how I want to live life too.
Yeah, and how you want to view yourself and like what makes you happy essentially from that point. Like luckily the thing about college is I feel like you can make enough mistakes. It is still like a controlled environment in a sense. So like when you're on campus, people understand like, oh, these are young dumb adults. Like you're not they kind of expect you to not make childish decisions, but still they expect you're gonna make mistakes and mess up. Like I don't know, luckily shouts out Morningside College, they had house parties and the cops knew if there was a college party they just let us go a lot of times. Like they just know like, oh, there's underage drinking, it's fine, we'll just crash it out, everybody get out of here, you guys like messed up, go home. Like that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
I mean it's definitely an environment where like a lot of it is about having fun, especially in the early years, for sure. And I remember being at parties and a lot of them did get rolled. I don't know how that was for you, but in Tucson at U of A, a lot of them like I was like, man, I'm just trying to eventually be 21 so I can like
go downtown. Luckily the small town like college town, we didn't have that. Those kind of crazy, like I've heard some stories, like you could speak to this, but I've heard people that like they didn't shoot anybody sometimes, but they shot in the air, shot in the party. Like they're, oh yeah, this party's so good, I'm gonna bust a cap in here. I'm gonna start letting this fly. Right. It doesn't make sense to me. But
it really don't. Like, then that's why a lot of them did get rolled, is because people were just dumb and just wanted to like have some attention and shoot in the air. You know what I mean? I never got that.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. I mean, go out there, bust a move on a lady, a fella, whatever you are, but don't go shooting. Come on now.
Yeah.
Ruin the vibe for everybody just cause. But that I heard that happening a lot, especially when I was out of town. But luckily, no, none of that ever happened. There were fights. Obviously, there were some fights I've seen. That's typical stuff, but for the most part, shouts out to that school. They called it M Side High because it was like a high school, because there was only like, I want to say there was like 5,000 kids, 4,000. It was probably the same size as Cienega, so it was the same kind of environment. So you're gonna see the same people.
Right.
The only time it got weird is if there was other colleges, because there was another college in the town too that showed up. Then it would be like, oh, who are these people? Like, what are they doing here? Like, what's going on? Yeah, exactly. Then that's the only time.
There's that weird. Funny, like, that just made me think of, because I went to U of A and like the whole rivalry thing with certain colleges.
Yeah.
And so like we got for those that don't know, like a real intense rivalry with Arizona State University. And the basketball team just played each other.
Yep.
And I don't know if you saw, but like at the end of the game, they had some beef throughout the game.
He tried to kiss his forehead at the end of the game. That's what I mean.
Yeah, bro.
He said, give me a kiss. No, just kidding.
He's tried to sell like it was a headbutt, but we really don't know. Bro's on some weird stuff. Bro. But no, at the end of the game, like he headbutted him. From the guy from ASU headbutted the U of A player, I think Caleb Love. And then at the end of the game, the coach was like, "Nah, we're not gonna shake their hands. Like, go. Yeah, man. Like,
well, I kind of agree with it a little bit. Like, I see the side just to prevent some like escalation, because at that point, like, oh, you headbutted, now we're gonna go shake hands, and then something might break out because you feel the tensions.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense, but then it was kind of just a weird move by the coach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't know how they're gonna react.
It was just weird to me, because like you're trying to mold a group of a men type thing, and like sportsmanship is one thing, but like I see the rivalry, but I don't know, I guess that is an option that I didn't think about to prevent like it from escalating too.
Exactly, and that's what I think he was going with, but it was just weird. It came off really weird. And same thing, like that was another thing. I thought rivalries were big between ASU and U of A, but dude, when I was in the Midwest, Nebraska, Iowa, I seen people actually fist fight over that. Like, fans fist fighting each other.
Wow, it's
that's
not
dedication.
That's not that serious.
It's that
bro.
serious, bro. That's what I said. I was like, they don't got nothing else but this love of the game.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Eat, breathe, sleep that. It's in their veins, bro.
Yeah, go Big Red. No, I'm just kidding.
You might have been one of them. Hold me back.
Yeah, exactly. Nah, you get in that environment, and I could see it. 'Cause there's like
Yeah.
100,000 people in their
Yeah.
stadiums and stuff. They get
Yeah.
wild. But yeah, college, it's a good time, dude.
Yeah, man. So if you had to go back, like if you got the opportunity to go back and kind of give yourself some advice, like freshman year, like what would you say?
I would tell
Like, if you
myself.
could go, like talk to yourself.
Yeah, if I could
Yeah.
tell myself, I would say, live it up. Like, I was so nervous at the time because I did go out of state. Like, I was trying to be like, it felt like I was not being myself in a sense. So like I felt like I had to represent Arizona because there was only 2 Arizona kids.
Yeah.
I had to represent my family, and then shouts out to the area, culture shock. Like, we live here, it's Hispanic community a lot of times. I didn't realize that, like, they say, oh, we're a minority, and then I go over there, white faces as far as I can see.
Yeah.
Shouts out to my pale face friends and all of you guys out there. But that's a culture shock for me. I see blue eyes, blonde hair everywhere, and it's like, oh, this is different. Like, I could tell people notice that I look different. The way I'm dressed is not usual to how they're dressing.
Yeah.
Like, it was a huge culture shock. But I felt like I did embrace it, but I felt like it took me at least a year to finally realize that, like, hey, my differences make me, like, I'm tough. Yeah. Like, people know who I am.
Yeah.
They'll be like, oh, that's X. Like, everybody knew, oh, that's
Yeah.
X. That's X. Like, everybody knew that. And at first I was a little nervous and like didn't really like that, but after a while I got used to it, and I want to tell myself like that, and don't be worried about essentially making mistakes, and also like being comfortable that it's not the end of the world no matter what. Like, if you like, I did fail some classes, I did some of that, and like I thought like everything's over, we're done, like I can't go back, I'm embarrassed. And there's nothing. Life goes on. Look,
Right.
we're here now.
Yeah, exactly,
Still doing our thing. But
Yeah, I think that's dope though that you would go back and just say, you know, live it up, because like a lot of times you can get caught up in being like, oh, like I should have taken this route, or I should have taken this major, or you know, I should have done this or that, and you don't really look at the fact of like, you know, maybe you did have a great time your freshman year, and so you made a lot of memories and stuff like that. So, you know, you don't want those to go away because those can be priceless too. But there's also like a fine line to walk to where like you don't want to do too much and get unfocused. You know,
it's true.
and that can happen. So, you know, what I guess what I would say is to just like think about, you know, down the road, like whatever you're doing now, like whether that be, yeah, you do want to have fun and like do it as much as you can, but just think about how you can set yourself up for down the road. Like whether that be like, yeah, you're passing your classes or whatever, but what can you do extra? Like if it's an internship here or there, or even if that's going out and doing like a side job,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like something that would extend you further. But like
Yeah.
that mode of thinking is cool, but because I think like I'm starting to try to think like that now.
Yeah. Strategizing a little bit more with your
Yeah.
career. I understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't really think about that in college either. Like, there are some people that do, like, that's their whole focus. Like, I don't go to parties, I don't do anything. I'm focused on my career, and sometimes they also regret not having fun. But also, there's a balance. You gotta think of the triangle. I remember one of my I forgot what they're called, RAs. Yeah, they had a triangle thing, and it was like life, studying, and like something else, like
Turning up.
yeah, it was. And they're like, you have to find the perfect balance in college. It's all about that. And like I thought about it, and yeah, it's basically, it's a good time to network, So I still have great relationships from college, thankfully, like connections that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise. You know what I mean? Like you'll meet people. Don't be afraid to meet people. Go out there, and it's a good time because you're all there struggling as college students. Like don't have any money, don't have anything, but just having a good time and realizing like, oh yeah, we're all going to school. Like we're just this is our job essentially to school.
It is a great time though. Like definitely. You know, because you're only there for 4 years, and those 4 years fly by so fast, bro. Yeah, and like you don't get the chance to go again. If you do go again, you're getting your master's, and I don't really know if people are trying to like go out and do that thing like that. Like, yeah.
And that's the same thing. Like even after your degree, like we'll go and talk about careers a little bit, but after your degree, sometimes you don't actually get into the job that you initially set out for. Because if you like, are you okay for me using an example?
Definitely.
Yeah, like you went to the water treatment plant.
Yeah,
that's no way journalism. You're not in there talking to the water molecules like, hey, how did you play today? You did pretty well, right?
How do you feel about you and H2O? No.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're hydrating a lot of athletes out there. How does it feel being the most well-known brand of water?
Brand of drink. More popular than Gatorade.
Yeah,
nah, true. Man. But yeah, like you said, I was at a water a laboratory where we tested water and also soil and things of that nature. But like it was an environmental laboratory, and I was like, every time I tell somebody like what I'm doing now is it's a National History Day coordinator, and so what National History Day is it's a national competition for history projects. And my job is to coordinate everything going up to the national level. And so, you know, that means just organizing all the like local competitions leading up to that. And when I work with a lot of teachers. Yeah. And so, you know, shout out to the teachers once again. They always ask me, how did I get in this job? And it's like, well, on Indeed.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Applied.
Yeah. Because I was like, before this, I was working at an environmental laboratory and they're always so surprised. And like you may find yourself going through that same kind of transition right now, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, like you can still build skills whatever you're coming from, like whatever you're doing, just try to take it seriously and do it well, and realize how it can, whether that be communication skills or just building a work ethic in general, you know, it can transition to something else. And so my biggest thing is like with a career, if you're not finding that you're getting in there as soon as you like. It's all about the effort. Like it's all about, that was at one point I just was dead in the application process. Like I wasn't getting no apps out. I was like, man, I'm tired of this. Like I'm just gonna work and try to save money and like just have fun. But like if you start thinking down the road, you'll start having a little bit more action. And so, you know, just think down the road and also have some action towards that, you know. Yeah, have your applications and whatever you're just even thinking about what you want to do. Don't stop.
Yeah, especially like it doesn't matter what kind of job you get into because you can always use that experience and to tailor it to whatever you're working in a sense. But the only time I would say you couldn't is like if it was a medical or a lawyer. But even those sense, you could say that like, hey, I have customer service, so I'm good with people. I know how to talk to different classes, socio-economical, any of that stuff. So they know that like, oh, you have their best interest in heart, and it's not just like by the numbers or they're just another number in the system, and that could benefit you too. Like anything.
Like you care about, you know, people too. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not just just like, oh, this is a number, this is the illness, this is a patient number 135. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of jobs are like that. Like you may feel like it's very corporate, and you know you're just a number in that too. So you know that's a thing as well. But you know the thing about getting applications out that I found myself in the situation one time, there was a guy who gave me a real big piece of advice at the environmental laboratory.
Oh, really?
And he was like, bro, like, I know you want to get out of here, but like, and what are you doing with like your applications? And I was like, well, I don't feel like I'm qualified for a lot of these because they're saying that you need 3 to 5 years. And bro, like I didn't have any experience in education for my job, for example. Yeah. And they said you needed 3 years of experience in that. and he was saying like that's just so they can try to get the best applications that they can. But how many people are actually applying to that?
Yeah,
they're gonna pick somebody.
Exactly.
You know, so even if you don't feel like you're qualified, just still like get the applications out. Obviously, you want some experience somehow.
Yeah, and that's why I said same thing. You can tailor it. Like even though it's not teaching, you could say that, oh, I was a mentor. Because think about why you were at that lab. I remember you were talking about like, oh, I had to teach other people how to do this, and that's the same thing. Like, oh, I tightened, I mentored. Yeah, that's you technically have the experience. You know what I mean? But you don't realize it until you start putting in the apps and talking about it and thinking about it, and you're like, actually, I've been doing this the whole time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then you start to be confident, like I can do this. You know, like they should pick me. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. Like just give yourself a chance. You know, get them shots up, bro. Shots on goal.
Shots on goal. Always let it fly. Yeah, and like same thing. Even if you do get your degree and you get into your job, and you can always switch it up too. Like, or you get into a different job, like. Our friend Jeff, he literally started his job at a jail and realized like, hey, I actually want to be in the justice system, not as like a correction officer or anything he is, but he works with the courts. And he realized like, hey, yeah, maybe I should get my master's in some sort of criminal justice. And he went back, and his original degree, I'm pretty sure, is in nutrition. Yeah, if I remember correctly, and he wanted to be like a physical therapist originally. Yeah, and like you can always change and pivot and readjust. Like you don't have to follow what you get as far as your degree too. Right. I mean, not everything is so straightforward. Like you know, doctor or a lawyer or business or something like that. But like realizing how you can transition those skills, like X was saying. Is a big piece. And so like just getting your foot in the door in the right place, you may meet somebody, you may have a job that you gives you the skills that you feel like are required for a totally different job. And so I mean, I think you just have to keep your options open and, you know, give yourself the chance, really. I mean, you never know where it can go. Like you said, like he started out in, you know, being a physical therapist basically in school, was going, and all as now, you know, really wanted to take his career to the next level in criminal justice. So like that's a total different career path. And it's, you know, it's not too late, you know. Yeah, it's never too late. It's never too late. Yeah, we've seen people that go back to school. Shouts out to TOCC, Tohoto O'odham Community College. They have like a lot of women that are in the 30s, 40s years old that are getting their degrees for the first time and just going out there and getting a job. You know what I mean? Yeah. Career pivot, shouts out. But yeah, and stay consistent too. Like whatever you're doing, stay consistent. Like that's, and I'm not saying that like I'm, you know, I've got it all down or anything like that. I'm saying that because that's what I'm working on right now. It's like everything that I'm doing career wise, I really need to work on my like consistency, like always doing something every day towards progressing and advancing. So, you know, that's one of the hardest things that I find. But, you know, it's once somebody finds that is where they really start to see some progression for sure. That's true. I just had a flashback after you saying that, like one step at a time. Shouts out Traver, my old weights coach. He used to be like, we go and we have to flip one stone over at a time on the way there. And he literally did that as he was walking down through the gym. But yeah, that's a mindset. Yeah, it's a mindset. Like a little bit of progress helps. A percentage growth over 100 days equals 100%. Never forget that. Cool. Yeah. And with that, I mean, that's the first one back. We appreciate y'all staying tuned in. Keep them like, share, subscribe. Please shout us out. We definitely want to hear anything you guys might want to hear from us. We'll do our research. I know we got a lot of connections. Well, Leonard got a lot of connections. He's real famous out here. Oh, man. Yeah, no. That man's called. Don't listen to him. He's carrying me. Yeah, this man's big body carry. But, yeah, we got some more coming up for you. Just be on the lookout. We got more guests and definitely going to tune into the pulse here pretty soon, back into the culture. Yeah, we got some upcoming episodes. There's a lot going on right now. So, you know, we're going to talk. We'll talk. We'll talk. Yeah. And just
just be excited.
Yeah, be ready. All right. Well, that's another episode. Beyond the Surface XL. Thank you. Peace.
Peace.